There's an election underway in the Comanche Nation as they're set to elect their next leaders. The general election is happening on Friday and Saturday of next week. And tonight we're sitting down with the second and final candidate looking to take the title of chairman. Joining me now is Michael Burgess. Thanks for being here today. Are you excited about running for the role of chairman?
Very much so. I've been there before.
Okay,
yes,
then.
Yes.
Well, tell us about you and why the Comanche Nation should vote for you.
First and foremost, we still have some cultural ways. I've had elders, of course, some of them my age, came to me and asked me if I would run. And after half a dozen people representing 4 or 5 different families, I agreed to run. Meaning, I was hesitant. I know the avenue, I know the road. I've been there 3 or 4 times with the committee, tribal administrator for the tribes, but I gave in because of the governance that we need, the outlook and the development for economic entities, and protecting our sovereignty. Those are 3 major areas that I wanted to focus on with the team called the Business Committee. Additionally, I'm supportive of education, all the way from preschool, daycare, to college education, and continue on up. It's very important for our future leaders that we have the leadership within our communities who understand the nuances of the greater society of America. Okay. And it is getting smaller with all the influx of other nationalities coming here for a more tranquil and peaceful life.
Okay, then now I know that earlier this year the Comanche people voted to oppose, and you talked about just hinted a little bit about this, the upcoming cobalt refinery in Lawton. Despite this, the refinery is still on its way. If elected, does that way forward look good to you, or what are you thinking about that?
Well, our people spoke. There was a resolution passed. Even our neighbors up north passed a resolution. We'll just have to work with it a day at a time. I'm not sure that we can do anything to reverse that decision because the state's EPA offices have come out and said that there was no harm that they could foresee, but that's the state. And we, Comanche Nation, are a sovereign nation. Our status is guaranteed by the treaties with the United States government. And we wish to protect all of our environment. And that includes the air we breathe, the soil that would be damaged because of the neighbors around that facility. If any of that leakage gets into the soil, gets into the plants, it gets into our animals, which is sustenance to us. And there is such a thing as food security, food sovereignty, food safety. And these are funded sources from the United States government, which our nation, the Comanche Nation, other tribal nations, and the cities and counties can participate for those fundings. Okay. And I speak this way because of my 30 years of background with federal grants, contracts, and administration of programs, and 15 years within that area wrapped into higher education program administration, and with being a past president of Pawnee Nation College and a former employee with Comanche Nation College before it was closed.
Okay, then. Well, now, you mentioned other tribes because relations between the various tribes in Oklahoma and the state government have taken a turn for the worse recently. If made chairman, how would you go about mending that relationship? And specifically, we're talking about with the governor.
Well, if the governor and I could have coffee and he would come to the middle of the road by saying he understands we are a sovereign nation, we're not beholden to the state unless we agree to it. It's similar to us with the state, the city and county of Lawton. One sovereign to the other cannot tax or take from it that entity which belongs to them. And our rights are guaranteed by a treaty with the United States of America, not the state of Oklahoma. So there are some options there, and we have to work on those. But the infusion of state law upon tribal land, tribal people, without our approval is not kosher.
Now, your predecessor prioritized putting the Comanche Nation in the spotlight through events and reaching out to the media. Would this be a priority to you as well?
It's necessary. We need our story to be understood. We need our story to be told, particularly within educational systems, not just in the state of Oklahoma, but other areas. Too often, too long has our culture been pushed down, and our awareness of our entities, ourselves, our sovereignty, as Indian people has not been encouraged unless you're within the tribal community, the native community. And that's where I would like for our public school system to understand the history that was brought upon us, was not always of our making.
I got it.
But our defense of our systems, of our culture is important.
Okay, let me ask you quickly, as you said, you previously served as chairman between 2009 and 2011. So your reasoning now for running is not so much from what you said, from what you wanted to do, but what you heard the voice of the people say.
Well, both times. Even my first time running, it was the voice of the people that made me stay. My car was packed up, ready to go back to California, where I spent 16 years, and my children. However, my elders asked me to stay, and this time around, the elders again asked me to stay and come back and help.
All
After
right.
12 years out of the area, yes.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your coming.
All right.
All right.
Tara,
Okay.
thank you.
All right then. All right then, Barrett.